Have seen, heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
Psalms chapter 17, verse 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied with thy likeness. Shalom Yasharala, peace Israel. Call Halayim La, Alahayyanawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakapadash. All praise to our power, our Father, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, in the name of Holy Spirit. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone. Peace and blessing to you hopeful elect out there. You brothers teaching his word in truth and in sincerity, okay? Yahweh Shai will make you elect like him. Yahweh Shai will make you hopeful elect out there just like him. He's gonna make you just like him, and he's gonna give you everything in due season. Okay? I'm reading the scripture again, and then I'll get another. Just gonna read two scriptures in the Psalms. Psalms chapter 17 and verse 15 again. As for me, and this is Psalm of David, and we know King David was an Israelite. Or should I say he is an Israelite? Okay? So this verse right here is only for the Israelites, beginning with the elect. Those are part of the house of David. Because King David himself, he wrote this. Psalm 17 and 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness, meaning you will behold this truth. Okay? This truth is the Lord's face, his image. You're looking at his face in righteousness by you understanding this truth. Okay? He opened up your mind to receive this word. You understand and believe in the true proper name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. You understand and believe in the true proper name of his beloved Son, Yahushai. You know that we're the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand this truth. So you're beholding his face in righteousness, meaning you're understanding these scriptures. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness, meaning when you're changed. When Yahushai returns to this earth, he's gonna quicken you. He's gonna give you life. When you receive that new body, it's like you're waking up for the first time. Totally refreshed, totally renewed, totally rejuvenated. A whole new world, a whole new life. That's how it's going to be when you receive that immortal body. You will be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning you're going to be changed and you're going to be just like him. Because he is the perfect model. He is the archetype. So for you hopeful elect out there, you're being made into different versions of Yahushai. When he returns to this planet Earth, he's going to make you just like him. First, he gave you his truth. You have his truth by way of his death and resurrection, because Yahushai had to die for us to receive this truth, this word. So you're beholding his face by you looking at this word. So you see Yahushai all the time. You see Yahushai by way of this word because he is the word. He comes in a volume of the book. And the more you get into this book, the more you're becoming like his image spiritually. And when he returns to this earth, physically, you're going to be like him. Physically, you're going to be changed. And you're going to receive that new covenant. The law, statutes, and commandments will be in your mind. You're going to be programmed to do righteousness. Okay? You will have the law, statutes, and commandments downloaded within your brain. You're going to be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning when he returns, he's going to beam you up, deliver you, and you're going to be just like him. And he's going to give you everything. He will give you everything, man, because he himself received everything. Now, this is Psalms chapter 16, beginning in verse 9. Therefore, my heart is glad. Now, this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the spirit. Now, these are Psalms written by our beloved King David, but a lot of these Psalms who hear Yahweh Shai in the spirit.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah Bahashim, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shah. All right, so going into this morning, news and prophecy, dealing with, this devil Esau Edom, especially over here in America. The scriptures saying what we're watching is America being despised among the heathen. Was there some prophecy, dealing with Babylon? Okay, and these latest talks, supposedly negotiations that they're supposed to have with Iran this morning, which supposed to be at 10 o'clock this morning, so in about another almost 2 hours, they should be going into talks about negotiations. Now, what we can see, dealing with going into these talks with Iran and America, what we can see, because Iran is going based just to discuss what they want to talk about. Okay, that shit Trump talking about with them, scaling down their ballistic missile program. Okay, them stop supporting, the proxies, in their region. That's not even on the table. Okay, so Iran is going there for the purpose of getting sanctions relief. All right, so they can put, a relief on their economy. Because like I say, the world currency is based on the American dollar and these American banking systems. Now, these nations do have workarounds. Okay, these BRICS nations, Shanghai corporations, they have workarounds. Okay, to where they can still survive outside the dollar. Okay, but at the end all be all, being able to operate within this system to some capacity, be allowed to operate within these American controlled markets does send instant relief, to all right your economy. Okay, but since they have alternative, okay, the alternative economy outside the dollar, all right, it's not necessary, but it would be a relief to its people. So Iran is basically going there for their people, see if they can get some type of relief, okay, from these sanctions, and they can get some automatic relief, to their people. Okay, Trump is going there, all right, to save face because they were supposed to do a strike, a little bit over a week ago. They didn't do it. They had to bag out, all right, and it made them look weak. Okay, so what Trump is doing now with the deal, he's going to save face. Okay, and what Iran is willing to do is decrease their uranium enrichment. Okay, which uranium is a component needed to make nuclear weaponry. Okay, so Iran, all right, is willing to reduce uranium enrichment, which will lift sanctions and then both parties can walk away, okay, with something that they want. And America can look strong. Trump can walk away and brag about the deal he got, all right, and they can look strong to the West, and the news gonna push it like, Iranian back down. Now, Iranian back down because of the warships that came, all right, to the Iranian seas, okay, over there in the Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, all right, the Gulf of Persia in their region. So now they can say, well, you know, American military buildup made Iran come to an agreement. Okay. So that's how the West gonna spend it if they get a deal. And if they don't get a deal, then Trump, okay, he gonna have to come through with something because he promised that if there's no deal, that it's gonna get bad for Iran. Okay, so either way it go, it worked, in the favor of prophecy, man. Okay, so this is what we're seeing, playing out now. We're seeing war strategy, we're seeing politics, we're seeing posturing, we're seeing people choosing sides. Okay, and it's all leading up to this ultimate war. Okay, so and what we're seeing also too is what you call gunboat politics. Okay, this is gunboat diplomacy. All right, and this is a tactic of America, and it looks good for news press. Okay, but we're gonna show you that America is already, losing leverage, and that these nations, all right, are having the ups, even when it comes to negotiations. So let's um let's go here real quick. Let's get some precepts, and then we'll go into that term gunboat diplomacy, and then I got a few videos to go into, kind of sum up certain things that's going on, what we see happening, and also how America is being despised, okay, amongst the heathen. Now let's go here to Matthew 24. Okay, this is Matthew 24:6. It says, Matthew 24:6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we know that there's other prophecy that has to happen, okay, before this war goes full scale. Okay, so you can look at these talks today and expect that they find some type of offering. They come away with some type of deal, okay, where both parties can walk away, with concessions, you see, and not seem weak. Okay, so that's a possibility, But then on the flip side, and the Lord can kick this thing off, okay, and we can start seeing, some conventional, they can go at it, for a couple of days and fall back. You see, they can kind of test and see where each other at and fall back. But see, the tensions are real high. You see, like when they go at it this time, man, like they gonna go and they can go there. So more than likely, just me speaking as a man, they gonna work out something, and America gonna take that offering. You know, so verse 7 said, "For nation shall rise against nation, the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Man, okay. So there's other things, that has to happen before this war goes all the way there. Okay. And then on the flip side, the Most High, he can kick this thing off, and the MOT, because all it takes is a 5-minute announcement to, certain events to happen, and then an announcement to say, look, this technology is mandatory now. Okay. So things can happen, man. That's why the scriptures say salvation is nearer than we believe. So we, as we watch these things, we just in the spirit of, okay, this shit can go either way. The Most High can take it there, okay, or he can let it be an off ramp, for further on down the line. So we just prepare for both ways. You see, we just on our pivot, we on our pivot according to prophecy, man. Okay, verse 8, it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So we're in the beginning of sorrows, man, and things just going to get worse and worse domestically, with civil unrest here, okay, inflation, okay, It's going to lead to civil unrest, famines, grid shutdown, all type of things. These things are just going to increase. Okay, and eventually this war, okay, is going to be full blown. And it's going to go from conventional to nuclear, man. Okay, so we're in the beginning of sorrows to where all these things spoken of, all right, are just going to continue to gradually get worse and worse and worse, man. So we're in the beginning of things getting worse. We're in the beginning of war escalate, famines escalate, pestilence escalate. Okay, civil unrest escalate. You see, we're in the beginning of these things, and we're seeing them, continue escalate more and more. Okay, so um, let's go from there. Matter of fact, let's get this in second Esdras, and then we'll go to the gunboat. So you go here to second Esdras. The second Esdras 16 and 37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." Okay, so these things are drawing nigh. Everything is just moving closer and closer to judgment. Okay, to the famine, to the war, to the civil unrest, to the pestilence, to everything is drawing near. There's nothing that's going backwards, and there's nothing that's stagnant. Everything is a step closer in the direction of prophecy, man. Okay, to the judgment that the Lord has planned for this place. It says, "As a woman is when a woman with a child in the 9th month bringeth forth a son, 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compares her womb, which pain when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." See, the Lord is taking the slack out of these events. It was a time when these events were more spread out and they wasn't as tense as they are now. See, right now, everything is tense. You see, it's a lot of tension. Like this build up that we're seeing between America and Iran, like it's a lot of things that have moved in place, man, for this thing to go crazy if they were to face off, man. Okay, and say the Lord can have it to where they lock up for a minute and kind of see where each other at and fall back again. You see, or they can get the off ramp. But we know one thing, like what happened with the 12-day war in June, that was intense. Okay, like they was really getting at each other. They was getting at Iran. Iran was getting at them, and Iran was getting the ups, but they was hurt too. Well, if they lock up this time, it's gonna be more intense than the last time. Okay, just like a birth pain. Okay, they become more painful and more intense and more frequent as you get closer to the birth. So as you get closer to the birth of this Third World War, we're going to see, these birth pains intensify. Okay, because they both sides inflicted pain on each other in them 12 days. So if they lock up this time, it's going to be more pain inflicted this time. Okay, if they, if Trump if they don't have a deal and Trump do what he say he gonna do. Okay, and if Trump don't do what he said he was gonna do with no deal, all American credibility gonna be gone. So the Most High got everybody in checkmate, man, to where they got to do His will, man. Okay, and it says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." Okay, sorrow is gonna come upon it on every side, man. So we're seeing the build up to that, man. Okay, all these different things happening at once, man. Because this war, which is gonna be the most destructive part of prophecy, and it's gonna usher in Yahweh Shai, and building up to that, man. You're gonna have just things happening on every level, man, all sides, man. Different, like I say, people starving, civil unrest, man. Just the earth gonna get violent, man. Like the teeth of wild beasts. Okay, the Lord having apparitions, and it's going to be crazy. The Lord finna turn the earth to a horror house, man. And that's why we need to be covered, man. You see, we in the time now where nothing short of a miracle is going to get us out of these situations, man. And we need a higher power to intervene in these times. All right. And it's going to be the Lord that's bringing these times, man. You see? So I want to go here because what we're seeing with America is what you call gunboat diplomacy. Okay. And it's a show of force and military projection. Okay. Now, real quick in the chat, I just asked, I said, what is gunboat diplomacy? Recent examples include America. And it says, gunboat diplomacy is a foreign policy strategy in which a country uses or threatens the use of military force, often naval power, to coerce another state in agreeing to its demands or change its behavior. Okay. So America, moving, those military, those naval military assets close, all right, to Iran, okay, is nothing but gunboat diplomacy. You see, and what Trump is doing by wanting to do a deal, all right, is that he can run with the narrative that he forced Iran to the negotiation table because of they move military, all right, naval military assets. Okay, and that's the narrative they're gonna run with. You watch if Trump get a deal, that's gonna be the headline all weekend. That's gonna be bigger than the Super Bowl. Okay, if he get any type of deal, that's gonna be the biggest story of the weekend. Okay, and they're gonna run with the story that it was American military, naval, all right, assets that forced this deal, that forced Iran to the table. That's gonna be the narrative, and Trump gonna wear that out, man. And then guess what? You people not even gonna talk about the Epstein list anymore. If Trump get this deal, the Epstein list is gonna be forgotten about. Okay, he's gonna be right back to being this great conquering hero. Okay, you watch. I can guarantee it because the American public is so predictable. The Esau and his tactics are predictable, and the American Republic, the American public's response is extremely predictable, man. Okay, so it says the term originally referred to selling warships into foreign waters as a show of strength rather than launching full-scale war. But by its core definition, it's diplomacy backed, okay, backed by the credible threat of force. Okay, so it says the term dates back to the 19th century. A classic early example was U.S. Commodore, all right, Matthew Perry's arrival in Japan with a fleet of warships in the 1850s to force the opening of Japanese ports to U.S. trade, a mission that succeeded without actual fighting, but relied on a threat, okay, of force. Okay, so you had this situation in Japan where the ports were closed to American, all right, trading ships. All right, so this American statesman went to Japan where he was accompanied by a fleet of warships with the threat of war. Okay, if the meeting didn't go like they wanted. Okay, if they didn't get what they want, you see. And remember, Trump wants Iran to stop supporting the proxies, like Hezbollah, Hamas, um, the Houthis, okay, those Iranian proxies in Iran and in Syria, okay, what they call the axis of resistance. So they want Iran to stop supporting them. They want Iran to to scale down their ballistic missile program, okay, which Iran said that's not even up for negotiation. We just coming to talking about the nuclear deal. Okay, so they're going into these discussions with Iran already declining what America wants. Okay, and we're gonna show you something else that happened that show you that America ain't got that sway. Okay, now the recent examples it's in many recent discussions and news report characterize U.S. actions usually toward Venezuela as modern forms of gunboat diplomacy because they involve a combination of military positioning and coercive pressure. U.S. military operation and tensions with Venezuela. In the late 2025 and early 2026, the U.S. significantly increased naval and military activity near Venezuela's coast. This included deploying an array of U.S. Navy warships, including destroyers and large carriers, and Coast Guard assets to the Caribbean as a part of a campaign the U.S. frames as counter narcotics and security operations. So, what happened in Venezuela was also, an example of gunboat diplomacy. Okay, but guess what? Iran ain't Venezuela. Okay, China ain't Venezuela. Russia ain't Venezuela. Okay, that little cute shit for the TV don't work. Okay, I'm going to show you. We're going to get into some things, man. So let's go here. Let's go into a few videos. All right. So let's play this, because leading into these talks, there's been some things, okay, that's been happening, man. So let's go here. All right, now let's play this video. We're going to touch on some points.
Donald Trump. Two developments from Iran that just show how quickly motor-mouthed Donald Trump has surrendered to Iran even before the start of the much-anticipated full-blown war with the Islamic Republic. First, Iran seized two foreign oil tankers today from the Strait of Hormuz and arrested 16 crew members. These two oil tankers were carrying over 1 million liters of oil. Then the rogue regime of the US has finally agreed to the Iranian condition to hold Friday's talks in Oman and not in Turkey. I will discuss these two topics in detail and also take you through the dishonesty of this slimy and unscrupulous UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who faces the biggest test of his political career. So Iran today captured two foreign oil tankers from the Strait of Hormuz and arrested around 16 crew members. These two oil tankers were reportedly carrying 1 million liters of oil. The Iranian authorities said that the crew members were handed over to the custody of judicial bodies, their words, not mine, for further investigation. Meanwhile, the Iranian military said that both the oil tankers had been taken to Bushehr after being captured in Farsi. Listen to this.
So what you had was America, because yesterday, because I said it yesterday, how the talks were supposed to be in Turkey, okay, which which America, they set up the negotiations in Turkey. America set these negotiations up, okay, but Iran said, nah, let's do it in Oman. So Iran is already dictating, like, look, we're not going to go to Turkey. We're going to go to Oman, okay? And America like, nah, we didn't set this up. So what Iran did, they seized two oil tankers and arrested the crews. Okay. And then guess what? America switched the meeting from Turkey to Oman. Okay. You're not going to hear that on repeat in the Western media. So Iran is already dictating terms before the negotiation. All right. They made America switch from the meeting being in Turkey to the meeting being in Oman. Okay. And while all those military assets out there, American military assets, Iran still seizing vessels, okay, in their region. Okay. Showing them that, look, we control this shit. Okay. Give a damn about y'all being parked outside. You see? Because like I said, don't get it twisted. America can do a lot of damage. That Sprite group is out there. They can do some damage to Iran, but Iran can inflict some damage too. Okay. See, you're not gonna want to fight someone. Yeah, you might can win a fight, but if you risk having your leg broke, your eyes busted, your jaw broke, okay, just to win the fight, then is it worth it? is that fight worth it? Okay, yes, you can win the fight, but the damage you're gonna take trying to win this fight. Okay, and we know according to prophecy, you're going to lose. Okay, but just speaking from the perspective of how they're thinking on the carnal level, man. Okay, so let's play this some more. Well, I'm gonna skip past. I think he gonna.
IRGC commander.
So let's go past here.
Control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is essentially trying to send a message to its enemies about its capabilities and what the country can do to global trade if Trump foolishly starts an illegal war with Tehran. As I said earlier, the Strait of Hormuz is a lifeline for Europe for its liquefied natural gas or LNG needs and oil supply to wider Asia. These countries that US invaded in the past are also no match to Iran's geographical size. So good luck to Trump if he thinks attacking Iran would be a good idea. Although the ground reality suggests that Trump is already having a second thought about his warmongering ideas. Yesterday, Iran said that it wasn't prepared to hold talks with the US in Turkey, and instead, it would want these talks to be held in Oman. The Islamic regime also made it clear that its ballistic missile program should be off the agenda of these talks. The initial reaction from the Trump administration was that it would not agree to such a last-minute change in venue. American media outlets were quick to declare that the talks had collapsed. However, this morning we learned that the US would be sending its representative to Muscat. I'm told that America's allies in the Middle East, namely Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, exerted pressure on Trump to resolve the conflict with Iran through talks. None of these countries want Iranian missiles rain through their skies and destroy their key infrastructure. The Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has already warned of a regional war if the US attacks Iran. This means that Iran could target key infrastructures in the Gulf region to teach the US a lesson. Imagine Iranian ballistic missiles, say the fourth generation Khorram Shahr series, which has a range of over 2,000 kilometers, begin to target Burj Khalifa in Dubai, oil installations of the UAE or Saudi Arabia, or US air base in Qatar, and cause widespread death and destruction. What would this do to the Project Dubai and its global image? What would it do to the investment potential in the UAE? Trump himself has billions of dollars worth real estate empire in this region. That too wouldn't be immune to future Iranian attacks.
So Trump got even private, investments over there in Dubai, UAE. All right, because he saw them put a lot of money, in, the Arabian Gulf. Okay, the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. All right, and Iran said all this on the target list. That's what they telling them. Look, all this on the target list, man. Okay, that like the Dubai got that look, the little island look like a palm tree. All that little cute shit Dubai got, all this on the target list, man. All right, Abu Dhabi and all this on the target list. Okay, that's why you have these Gulf Arab states begging Trump, look, sit your ass down, man. Because they don't put all this money, into their infrastructure because these nations they want to go into the new world order with strength. They want to go into the new world order with their infrastructure obliterated by war. Okay, that'd be a major step backwards to them. You see, so what you see now is these Gulf Arab states, are bagging away, from Trump and these small hats, because Iran is making it very clear, okay, that everywhere that there's an American flag is going to be a target, in this go round, going back to the birth pains. Last time it was just Iran and it was just missiles being shot at Tel Aviv from Iran and missiles being shot at Tehran from Tel Aviv, from Israel. Okay. This time Iran said, look, we're going to go regional. We're going to open this thing up. And that's what birth pains do. They get more intense. Okay, so this time it's like, okay, we're gonna open this bitch up. Okay, so everything you got in the region is a target. Okay, so let's play some more.
This explains why Trump has readily agreed to accept the Iranian condition, at least for now. Meanwhile, Trump's minion, J.D. Vance, has taken a dig at the Iranian leadership by saying that its ministers didn't have freedom to take decisions on their own.
By the way, Megan, one thing.
Now listen to this corny ass nigga here, man. J.D. Vance, man. You Edomites don't got it, man. You some weak, coward, feeble. And they project themselves just to be. The Lord got these niggas propped up, man. And as we see the Lord scripting these niggas, man, these niggas never had it, man. Okay, it was the Lord holding these niggas up in power, man. It was our power holding these niggas in power, man. Because these niggas do not got it, man. These weak, feeble. So listen to this nigga, man. Okay? Listen to this nigga, man. Just how Esau sound and talk and his posture, man. This nigga is very unmanly, man, but he love to play this macho. Let's go here.
I would say about the Iranians that is just really weird to me, and I don't understand their system, and I frankly think that it makes diplomacy with them extraordinarily difficult, is the person who makes the decisions in Iran is the supreme leader. Okay, the president, our sense is, doesn't have a lot of juice, doesn't really matter. The foreign minister seems to talk to the supreme leader, and that's mainly the person that we've communicated with, but it's a very weird country to conduct diplomacy with when you can't even talk to the person who's in charge of the country. That makes all of this much more complicated. And it makes the whole situation much more absurd. Like, he can pick up the phone and call Putin. He can pick up the phone and call Xi. Even countries that we have very hostile relations with, he can pick up the phone. North Korea. He met the guy at the 38th parallel. It is bizarre that we can't just talk to the actual leadership of a country. It makes diplomacy very, very difficult.
Because when folks don't fuck with y'all, man. Okay? They know y'all niggas be lying. What's to talk about? Okay? Nigga, y'all kill the leadership, so what's to talk about? Okay? Iran move like that in a stealth way because they know how America get out. You see? So what the hell you talking about? Of course the nigga don't want to talk to you. Of course the nigga don't want you to know his whereabouts. Okay? Why would he do that? That would be crazy for the supreme leader to be, familiar with American diplomats, man. That would be extremely crazy, man. Look at y'all track record. Y'all killed Iranian scientists, generals. So why the hell would a supreme leader get familiar with y'all niggas, man? Okay, and then Esau act like it's just preposterous that nobody want to fuck with them like that, man. Like they don't see what's the deal, man. Okay, but this devil being despised among the heathen, and we're gonna get it. But then we're gonna show you this. He's gonna keep talking.
Can someone ask him if he has the freedom to take any decision pertaining to American national security on his own without consulting his mad boss called Trump? And he's the vice president of his country. Top global leaders from around the world have had no problem in talking with Iran or their supreme leader in the past. Here are some examples. But the US finds...
So you see all these examples. Okay? See, China don't have no problem getting in contact with them. Okay? India, these other nations don't have no problem in getting in contact with them. Okay? So, nigga, it's your bitch ass that they don't want to talk to. You see? He can be found. He just don't want to be found by you niggas, man. Okay? But if Trump, make his move, they gonna talk to you, man. Okay? When Trump finally drop his nuts, okay, and do what he got to do, they gonna talk to you, man. Okay? So let's play this some more. And it's very difficult to do diplomacy. No, y'all niggas difficult, man. Okay?
around the world have had no problem in talking with Iran or their supreme leader in the past. Here are some examples. But the US finds it difficult to talk to Iran. Doesn't it mean the problem lies with the US and not Iran? Why would a country be dying to speak with you when you have choked its population to death through illegal sanctions and currency manipulation? These bloodthirsty maniacs from the West are frustrated because, despite investing billions in causing unrest in Iran and large-scale death and destruction, the Iranian establishment has managed to take control of the situation. Listen to this Iranian woman. She says she's inside Iran right now, and there is absolutely no truth in the Western propaganda.
Hey, Mary.
Now listen to this Iranian woman, and she talked with so much sense. And the people outside America have awareness, man. The people in America are so goddamn dumbed down and stupid and unaware of reality. Okay, just filled with, Western propaganda. Okay, so listen to this Iranian woman, man. Okay.
No truth in the Western propaganda.
Hey, American people. I'm an Iranian woman talking to you from Iran. I don't know if they let you hear my message or not. But after the riots in Iran, Trump said he wants to save us, the Iranians. But we Iranian people do not need his saving, and you Americans do not need his lies anymore. His policies are harming both of us. His plan for Iran was clear from the beginning. He used sanctions as a weapon, not only against the government, but also against ordinary people like families, workers, patients, and students like me. He wanted the inflation to rise and daily life to become unbearable for us. And then when we protested against the economic pressure and not the Islamic regime, the Israel-backed agents, organized terrorists, and armed militias stepped in and turned our peaceful protests into violence and calculated acts of sabotage. And when they failed to regime change, that violence is now being used by Trump as an excuse to start a war against Iran, both to burn my country and to burn your tax dollars. Quite the opposite of his promise to put America first. But while he's blaming Iran and talking about freedom abroad, look at what he's doing to you, his own nation. You're peacefully protesting against racism and injustice, and yet your police and National Guard respond with tear gas and bullets. And now he wants to distract you by dragging you into another foreign war. We must stand together against the wrong and dangerous policies of those in power. You must not allow Trump to attack Iran, because if he does, my country will be damaged and your people will be buried.
You see that? You see how, how much sense people have outside of America, okay, to know what's going on, okay, that's not filled with propaganda, because she said, look, what Trump is doing is hurting Iranian citizens that he's saying that he wants to save, and it's hurting you. Okay, you Americans have no clue of that your own government is at war with you, but you rally around your government to go to war with everybody, and which the American people pay for those wars. Okay, all this money that goes to war because they've been, talking about a stimulus check and this and that. All this money that this nigga spends on wars and doing coups and the CIA functioning, operating everywhere, man. The American economy can be off the chain, man. Okay, but that's not his, and they don't want it to be, because they want to keep you people dependent, distracted, and confused. Okay, but she said, look, this war, yeah, like you say, America can hurt Iran. Okay, but Iran can hurt America too. So she let you know that, look, it's going to be body bags this time. Okay, they're going to send some body bags across the water. Okay, so y'all rallying around this nigga Trump. Okay, like he's some type of wartime, hero. This wartime president heroic conquering president. Y'all let that little Venezuela Hollywood you know, that little scene, that little Hollywood scene of Venezuela, okay, hype y'all up like y'all ready for the world, man. It don't work like that. Okay. So let's play this a little more.
It's not a win-lose situation, only loss on both sides. I know you want no more wars. I know how many American families have already paid the price of war. You have sent your loved ones to fight in countries far from home. And I tell you that the war with Iran will not be as easy as kidnapping the Venezuela's president. I'm not the speaker of Iran's government, but all the Iranian officials have warned that thousands of American soldiers will die in the Persian Gulf and the U.S. military bases across the region. And this is not a threat. This is a reality of war. And we, the Iranian people, do not want this to happen to you. So you, the American people, must not let this crazy old man decide the fate of millions, because your lives and our lives worth more his ambitions and his lust for more oil and more power.
I will leave you with this fascinating.
You see that? Okay, and see, let's get some precepts, man. You know, let's get some precepts. So let's go here. All right, because the you see, and it's so rare to hear people talk with sense and not filled with Western propaganda, man. Okay, because these people, everybody in America, majority of people, even those that think they woke, they still they spew out Western propaganda, which is all lies, man. It'd be the opposite of reality, man. Okay, when you listen to, you know, these people speak on, you know, try to speak on what's going on, okay, in the West, man, it's just nothing but propaganda. Okay, and she let you know, look, our lives at stake, your lives at stake. See, that's what no one's considering, because America hasn't had to deal. See, American citizens haven't had to deal with the consequences of war. See, these other nations, they have to deal with the reality of war. Okay, the loss of life. You know, because when you lose thousands of men, that destroys your economy. Okay, that destroys your economy when you lose thousands of men, tens of thousands of men in a short time. Okay, that destroys an economy. It's a major ripple effect, man. And these nations, they're used to having to deal with it. America is not. Okay, so Americans are detached from the realities of war. They're just used to, you know, hearing Western propaganda, to hearing about how good and how brave the American military is, and you know that it's, you know, it just did this. We just took down Saddam. We just took down Bin Laden. We got this guy. We got that guy. So you just stuck in this fairy tale, okay, of this, you know, this nonstop American badass movie, to where Americans just around the earth preventing terrorism and things from spreading to America. Okay, America's not linked with the reality of war, the losses that come with war. Okay, but that's why scriptures say they're going to get familiar with that real quick. Matter of fact, let's get that in Isaiah 47. Okay, let's get this in Isaiah 47. All right. In 7, it says, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thine heart, which is thy mind, neither didst remember the latter end. Okay, because America has enjoyed, you know, the status of being, okay, in favor with the elites. You know, that's why America is known as what, the excellency of the Chaldeans. Okay, America is known as the excellency of the Chaldeans, which the Chaldeans are the elites, man. Okay, so the elites have backed America for a long time, and America has enjoyed, you know, the status of superpower, okay, for decades, man. You see, in the American public, you know, American citizens, That's what they've been pampered with and used to. So they don't see America falling from the status that it's been enjoying for so long. Okay. Verse 8, therefore, hear now this, thou that are given to pleasure that dwellest carelessly, that says in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. Okay. Because the way, Americans view the world, they look at America as if it's like nothing matters outside of America. As long as America can function and operate with first world status and the convenience, and you know, they don't care what happens outside of America, man. America is only concerned with America, and within America, everyone in America is concerned about themselves, man, their own situation. Okay, so Americans live and exist in this bubble. Okay, but we're coming into the time where their bubble is gonna be popped by this war. Okay, now all the wickedness that America has done throughout its history, where all that judgment is going to come back in one time. Okay, that's why it says in verse 9, it says, but these things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. Okay, so all the wickedness is going to come back in a moment. Okay, and turn America to the lake of fire, man. The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, man. And it's going to be the perfect timing, and it's going to be a complete judgment, man. Okay, and the only thing that's going to survive America is the elect that's going to go in those chariots, man. Everything else is going to be completely obliterated, man. Okay, and this is what your president, all right, this is what your leadership, this is what the elites, okay, are leading you American citizens into, man. A nuclear holocaust, man. What they doing across seas gonna get all those missiles from all these different nations sent over here. Okay, so what they're doing over there across seas, and you think, all right, that they being these tough guys, and they over there running shit and wrecking shit. They gonna get all those missiles from all those nuclear capable nations are gonna shoot missiles over here for the bullshit that American and small hands doing over there. Okay, so you're sitting here cheering it on, okay, and you're thinking that this some type of show of strength, okay, but this is leading to America being the lake of fire, man. Okay, it says they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments, man. Okay, because this is the land of witchcraft, rebellion, anti-Messiah, okay, culture. This is the birth. This is the source of it, man. And that's why America gonna get the worst judgment. All right, let's get this. All right. I think that's a verse. So let's get this in Ecclesiastes 10 and 16. Okay, it says, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child and thy princes eat in the morning. Okay, so you Americans are dealing with some very immature leadership, man. Like children, man. You look how Trump talk. He talked like a kindergartner, man. If we don't come with a deal, it's gonna be very bad. It's gonna get bad. He talks like a kindergarten. You see, J.D. Vance, why they won't come play with us? Why they won't talk to us? Okay, and it said, woe to thee, O land, and that land is America, man, because your childish leadership is going to get America nuked. Okay, these little childish antics that they play, and present it to you like this is just a showing the strength and force. Okay, it's going to get you Americans nuked, man. Okay, so woe to thee, O land, and this land is America, man. Okay, that destruction, that third woe is going to end in America being the desert, man. So let's get this in Jeremiah. Okay. Jeremiah 49 and 14 is said. Matter of fact, let's start at 13. Okay, because this is the end game. Okay. And this is just saturated all through the scriptures of America, all right, becoming a perpetual waste. Jeremiah 49:13, for I have sworn by myself, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashem al Shah, that Basel shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Okay, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste, man. Okay, so the Lord has sworn by himself that he's going to do this. And what we're seeing is the build up to it. Okay, we're seeing the build up to America becoming a perpetual waste. Okay, a forever desert. And that's the judgment of the Lord. Verse 14, I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Bashem al Shai, and ambassadors sent among the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her, rise up to the battle. And these nations are rising up to the battle, man. Okay, there's been a lot of military hardware sent to Iran. Okay, from China and Russia. Okay, you had those joint Navy exercises between China, Russia, and Iran. Okay, you had Russia's Navy. Okay, they came closer into the vicinity. Okay, closer to these American strike groups out there, man. So, hey, the things are moving around, man. These nations are in array. They're in battle formation. Array goes into a battle formation, man. Okay, so when America move, ain't that gunboat diplomacy where you just pull up and hop out and make your demands and you get everything you want and then fly back to America and on to the next. Nah, man. They changing where the meeting gonna be at. They changing, all right, what's on the table. Okay. When you move military assets, they moving military assets. Okay, so you got your boats out there. Well, guess what? We putting boats out there too, and we sending drones out there to see what y'all got going on. We're doing reconnaissance, and we seizing tankers while y'all out there. Okay, y'all outside, we outside. Okay, so it ain't that this ain't 1850s. This ain't the 1850s Japan, and it damn sure ain't all right. Venezuela. Okay. It says, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Okay? I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. And let's go into the word small. Okay? So you go into the word in the Hebrew is quartan. All right? Which means what? It says young, small, insignificant, unimportant. Okay, and America is becoming insignificant and unimportant on the global stage. Okay, it's dwindling. Of course, they still have sway, because the system is built around, okay, the American financial military, okay, complex, man. You see? But what's happening is these nations are working around it, and these nations have built themselves up to combat that militarily and economically, man. Okay, and it's not to the point to where they're going to prosper beyond the American dollar, but they can exist outside of it. They can fight a war outside, all right, of the American, all right, banking system. They don't have to rely, okay, on American banking systems and, the dollar to still do business, to do what need to be done. Okay, and the Lord got that set up for the fulfillment of prophecy, man. Okay, so America is becoming unimportant on the global scale. You see, in America, still trying to ride off their old reputation, man. Okay, but these nations, the Lord got these nations in the spirit to test that theory, man. Jeremiah 49:16 said, thy terribleness have deceived thee, okay, and the pride of thy heart. And I want to get this in I think the NLT say it in a particular way. Isaiah 49:16 in the NLT. It says, you have been deceived by the fear you inspire in others and by your own pride. Okay, so these devils are deceived by what they've been able to do. You see, they trying to throw around their weight based on their old reputation. But see, now these nations like, nigga, you gonna have to show me something. That little Venezuela shit, that ain't impressive. Nigga, you gonna have to show me something. Okay? That old reputation that y'all had, and you see, that old, sway that y'all had, nah, nigga, you gonna have to show us something. Okay? It says you live in a rock fortress and control the mountain heights, but even if you make your nest among the peaks with the eagles, I will bring you crashing down, says the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, man. And these devils, they've been able to control the skies, man. Militarily, America has had air superiority for decades, man. Okay, with no equivalent. But now the Lord has equipped these nations to even it out, man. You see? Because we haven't really seen these, because it hasn't escalated to their point to where they really activated these missile defense systems. Okay, because if they can intercept missiles, they for damn sure can intercept aircrafts. Okay, and we haven't seen these really being activated like that yet. Okay, this gonna change the game. All right, and then when Yahweh Shah come, he's gonna bring all this shit down, all this satellites and all this shit that they got in the atmosphere. The Cherry's gonna destroy all that, man, and bring everything crashing down with Yahweh Shah. That's what really, all right, gonna bring this to the ground, man. All right, bringing this devil, okay, to nothing. Is a return of Yahweh Shah. These nations are just gonna get the party started with the destruction of America, man. Jeremiah 49:17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, said the Lord. No man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. Okay, so and it's a spirit that all this freakiness is coming out. These devils, what they got going on. All right, all this Sodom, behavior. Okay. And the Lord got the same destruction for Sodom building up. So as we see, because it's a spirit, because these devils, releasing these files in which the devil, and it shows you that this man is desperate, that he got to tell on himself to keep people distracted, man. Showing that the Most High got this nigga is in full control of Esau, man. The fact that this nigga got to tell on himself to try to keep people distracted, man. Okay. But the more we see, this Sodom behavior exposed and coming to the forefront, the closer we get to that war, which is going to bring that Sodom and Gomorrah style judgment, man, with those nukes and those chariots, man. Okay, so yeah, we're in it there, man. I think the point made. So the brother got one. Let's read this one. We're in with the brother got. This is Sirach 16:13 is from the brother you call Hope for 144. It said, the sinner shall not escape with his spoils, and the patience of the godly shall not be frustrated. Okay, so Esau is not going to escape. He thinks that he's just going to continue on this path and establish a new world order and hijack existence and re-engineer creation to his liking and ride off into the sunset with everybody, in the digital prison. No, he's not going to escape. The Lord finna frustrate this man. And this war, all right, is going to spiral out of control. All right. And Howard Shah is going to return, and this devil, all right, is going to captivity, man. So that's the point. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edify once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah Bahashim, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, and hopefully, shalom.